Social justice, depending upon what environment you say that,
Sure.
determines what that means. Social justice to me is serving and meeting the needs of the community.
Right.
And so for us, it happens to be the sex trafficking. It's redoing public schools because there's no money. So we go in and we paint and we do that kind of stuff. And Jesus said, go and do these good works. The men will see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So I think for us, I don't want to just be another social organization that's just doing these things. I want them to know what's the purpose and why are we doing this, and Jesus gets the glory for this.
Yeah.
Great movement started off, doing these things with the cross, and then literally over a few decades, the cross isn't there anymore. It's just a good organization that's just helping people.
Right.
Exactly.
And I don't want to become a philanthropist.
Right. So to clarify, you would say that any kind of organization that a church starts that has, the social justice label definitely needs to include the gospel.
I think the gospel, that's just my opinion.
Right.
I'm not saying you get up and you preach.
Exactly.
But there has to be some sense of this is the gospel.
Yeah.
Jesus went to the hurting and to the destitute and to the people that were in desperate need. He didn't come for the well, he came for the sick.
Right.
So, the whole aspect of the gospel is we being Jesus going out and loving these people, redeeming these people. And then as you serve them, God definitely, at least on our end, has given us opportunity. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
What's the motive of you doing this? It's not just I feel good because I'm doing something good for people, but man, Jesus in me, that's kind of our viewpoint. And I think social justice, if you take the liberal church has always done social justice. They've always, done things like that. I think in my view, the charismatic Pentecostal churches growing up weren't really doing much social justice. It was always the liberal churches that were doing, Episcopalians, Presbyterians, those. And I think now it's become such a big emphasis in the charismatic Pentecostal church, especially, that growing up, I grew up in Assemblies of God. I don't remember really doing any kind of social justice or maybe benevolence program, but not like we have today. It's just like a whole nother dynamic.
The following content is brought to you by The Church Conference, a Spirit Contemporary Pastors and Teams event in Las Vegas. Visit thechurchconference.com for more information.
And I would say this too, is that most of the social justice is not sustainable without the local church.
That's so good.
That's really good.
That is very good.
Anywhere, even the large parachurch ministries, unless there is a local church on the ground to sustain it.
It's so good.
So like our church, Children's Cup feeds 22,000 kids a day. Through our church in Zimbabwe. Every single volunteer is someone that goes to Celebration Church. And so without that local church, and what you'll find out with most of those big implementations of whether it's feeding or, we're helping to plant a church in Greece where A21 is connected. The local church, it's always the sustaining agent.
So good.
For any type of relief or justice. And I do want to say this is that, like we talk about, hey, we feed 22,000 kids a day, which is awesome, but that's not the same as, hey, 22,000 kids got saved today.
Right.
And so I think that the thing with social justice is, as we're excited about all the girls being rescued, all the people being fed, all the homeless needs being met, we've got to remember that just because someone is fed does not mean they're saved. And so there's got to be that gospel component.
There has
in there.
to be that. Yeah.
Has to be. Like Africa, man, AIDS, they're not going to get all healed.
Right.
They're just not. They have to have Jesus. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Jesus is the answer.
Yeah.
And so I love feeding kids.
Right.
I put my money where our mouth is. We do 22,000 a day, but man, those kids need Jesus.
Yeah, that's fact. That's fact.